I am feeling a bit of imposter syndrome right now. And that's because what I'm about to talk about dips a bit into the realm of therapy. Don't get me wrong, I am a huge fan of therapy. I use it for myself and my family. But I want to talk about reframing. And is it time to reframe the situation that you're in? So before I start that, I want to define what is a reframe. And I'm going to read you a definition from the Harvard Stress and Development Lab. They explain that positive reframing involves thinking about a negative or challenging situation in a more positive way. This could involve thinking about a benefit or upside to a negative situation that you had not considered. Alternatively, it can involve identifying a lesson to be learned from a difficult situation. Finding something to be grateful about in a challenging situation is a type of positive reappraisal. For example, after a breakup, you could think about the opportunities to meet new people, the things you learned from the relationship, and the gratitude you feel for the time you spent with the person. I love that definition. It's very thorough, but I also have an analogy because I think analogies really help us think through situations. And think about if you're going to take a picture of something on your phone. So you have the frame and you have the picture inside the frame. But on our phones, we can zoom in and we can zoom out. It's the same thing we're taking a picture of, but the picture itself looks different. So the situation is the same, but it looks different. You can move right or you can move left. Same situation, but different picture, different frame. So that's the idea of reframing a situation. So that shift, the reframe, can be enough of a change in perspective to get over an obstacle or a negative situation. So now I want to talk about how do we know if it's time to reframe? And I'm going to give you a couple of things to look out for. And these have to do with mindset. The first is all or nothing thinking. That's that voice in your head that says that you blew the last conversation with a friend, that you're trying to win over. Maybe you got into politics again and you told yourself you weren't going to do it. And you're like, oh, I'm never going to cross that bridge in that relationship with somebody. So all or nothing thinking is just, you're kind of giving up because you're going to always do it right or you're not going to do it at all. So the first is all or nothing thinking. The second is blaming, placing your problems on someone else or something else rather than taking ownership for whatever has happened. The third is catastrophizing. Imagining the worst thing that can happen. So, maybe you got a bad grade on a project and, it's a C and you're midway through the semester and you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm going to fail the class. Right? That's catastrophizing rather than looking for what you can do to make the situation better. And next is mental filters. So we all have a tendency, it's actually biology, to look at things from a negative perspective. We have to put some processes in place to try to be a more of a glasses half full kind of person. One tip here for you really quick is to pause each day and look back at your wins for the day. I have an excellent video series about the reset routine that I will link below that builds this into the process of a daily reset. And finally is should statements. The words should and shouldn't are kind of like the mean girls from high school. So whenever you find those words popping up in your vocabulary or maybe in the chatter inside of your head, that is a sign it might be time to reframe the situation that you're in. Does any of this resonate with you? I'd love to hear in the comments below, or if you want to share with me over on social media, tag me. I would love to hear about it. I want to share with you a situation where I was in a negative mindset and really needed a reframe, and my daughter completely called me out on it. This was last spring break. We were up in Tahoe for a getaway with another family. We were sharing a cabin, and we went to this cute part of Truckee. It's a little town outside of Tahoe. And there's this whole area that has lots of cute restaurants and some cute shops. And we had eaten lunch and we were walking and doing some shopping. And our family, so me and my husband and my daughter, my son, and then another family, husband and wife, daughter and son. So same thing. So the boys had all left early, and they left the girls to continue to shop because they wanted to go back to the cabin and, I don't know, watch football or relax or whatever. And right after they left, my daughter got a bloody nose. She gets them often, especially at high altitude, which is Truckee is at high altitude. And we had nothing. And there was it was bad. It was like gushing blood everywhere. So I'm like, okay, but the car is just right across the street. Let's run over. I know that I have some napkins inside the car. So we run over to the car and I'm fumbling for my keys. Well, I realized that my husband left in our friend's car with the keys in his pocket. And I just start my mind is, oh my God, now we have blood everywhere. Now we can't get back to the car. And I take her finally back to the restaurant where we had lunch in. We get some paper towels. We get her cleaned up. And I'm just in this really bad place in my head. And my daughter's like, you know what? It was actually the bloody nose was a good thing because it identified the fact that the keys were gone. And Truckee to where our cabin was in Tahoe was a 30-minute drive. And the guys were only about 5 minutes along on their journey when the bloody nose happened. So it was easy for them to turn around and come back. Where if the bloody nose had never happened, they would have gotten all the way to the cabin before we likely identified that the keys were missing, and it would have been a much bigger issue. So that is an example of how my daughter so brilliantly reframed where I was kind of going into that negative mindset. But let me know, is there a situation in your life that needs a reframe? And once you get into that positive mindset and get reframed, check out this other video on how to write a life plan. You always need to do it from a positive mindset. And I'm posting this the first week of November. It's a good time to reconnect with where you want your life to be going as we head into the holidays. Make it a great day.